Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about the number one thing that everybody seems to be talking about at the moment, and that is stress. I'm going to talk about stress, what it is, the science of stress, how we can manage our stress better. I'm going to give you 5 ways to do that, so stay all the way to the end of the video. Hi there and welcome back to the channel. My name is Lee Eldridge. I'm a human performance coach that works specifically with business dads. So I look at how to improve performance both in business as a leader and as a dad. Now this video is going to focus all around the topic of stress. Everybody is stressed. How many people do you see and they just say, oh my word, I've got so much on, I feel so much stress, I'm under so much pressure and so much strain. Now, before we start, there's a couple of key points to understand. 1, stress is not necessarily a negative thing. It gets a huge negative connotation to whoever we are talking to. But stress is a great means to focus in on what you need to be doing. To add to that point, there is what we call eustress and distress. Okay? Eustress is something that is really positive, really exciting. So if you imagine that you've got a big client meeting coming, or you're about to go and watch your kid play football or rugby or hockey or whatever it might be, and you're super excited, that is stress, okay? But it's eustress, it's good stress, it's things that make us enjoy life, basically. Without it, it would be pretty boring. And now comes into this aspect of flow psychology, and I'm pretty sure that some of you have come across this, and this is the idea that flow is this optimal state that we get into when our skill level matches the challenge that we're trying to do. If it's too easy, we get bored. If it's too hard, we get anxious. And that's where the distress can come in. Or distress can be when, something bad's happened, or you're not looking forward to a review with a employee, or a client that hasn't gone well, or there's that moment as a dad when you probably have to kind of have a word with your child about what's going on, and that can create some stress. So there we have a little bit of an understanding of stress. So we have chronic versus acute, we have eustress versus distress, and they kind of interplay with each other. And my last caveat before we even start going into the best ways to manage our stress is that stress is stress. We can't separate the fact of we have social stress, mental stress, emotional stress, and physical stress. We don't have 4 buckets in our body and in our brain that says, right, okay, hold on, this is training, this is physical stress, put it into there. Okay, this is work, this is really challenging, mental stress. This is difficult conversations to have, this is social stress, and we need to have to think about our emotional stress as well. It doesn't really work like that. They all kind of get muddled into each other, so that, for example, if you've had a really stressful day, going to the gym and then stressing the hell out of you is probably not the best idea. I'm not saying don't go to the gym, but what I am saying is you might need to adjust your session to meet that bucket of stress that you've got. And hopefully these 5 things, tips, tricks that I'll be talking about will help you increase that bucket to allow you to tolerate more stress. So number 1, simplest one everyone talks about, prioritize your self-care. Now, if we imagine that we have pillars in our life, I'd like to call them pillars as opposed to roles. So we're a business leader, a business founder, and then we are a dad, and then we are a husband or a partner, and then at the end we're ourselves, and all of this kind of gets mixed in together. But I guarantee you, out of those 4, yourself gets the smallest amount of time and attention. However, if we think about it in what I touched upon, physical stress, it's quite easy to understand that if we take self-care and we look after ourselves in terms of what we're eating, what we're sleeping, how much exercise we're doing, what type of relationships we're in, how socially connected we are, not by in terms of kind of on our phones, but actually kind of face-to-face connections. What are we doing to ourselves to improve this bucket? There's loads of people out there to kind of look at, experts in sleep and physical activity, and I'm not going to sit here and try to get you to follow the way that I prescribe or the way that I coach around those areas, but just follow some basic guidelines in terms of 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night, 150 minutes of kind of cardiovascular exercise, some bit of strength training, and that's a great foundation for you to have to move forward. Number 2 is effective energy management. Now, I talk about this in terms of trying to have an energy audit over a course of a week, of a month. So with lots of the people I work with, we sit down, we look at their calendar of what they've done for the last week or so, and we just look at points during the course of the week where loads of energy, really motivated, got lots of stuff done, had a great time with family, friends, in work, in business. And then we look at the times when we have an energy withdrawal. What was it? Was it the people we were hanging around? Was it the thing we were doing? And we try to work out a way to manage our energy during the course of the day, knowing that sometimes we're not going to be on, other times we are going to be on. So what are we doing when we're on and what are we doing when we're off? And by doing that, it really helps us to kind of put this idea of time management to one side. We're all focused on productivity and time management, but we can't really gain any time during the course of the day unless we, sleep less. But what we can do is we can have better energy during the course of the day, so we don't have these massive highs and these massive lows. So think about your energy, audit it for a couple of weeks, and see where you can start to make some changes. Number 3, open communication with your partner. This is probably one of the most beneficial ones and also the toughest one. Definitely one that, I find as a business dad quite a challenge sometimes, but it's to communicate with your partner about work, about family, about friends, about their kids, about what's going right. Just generally be open to discussing what's going on and how things are progressing, because they're the person that have got your back. They're the person that are supporting you as much as possible. I've seen it time and time again, especially with the business dads that I've interviewed, is that they will hide what's going on in the office or in their business because they don't want to put that stress onto their partner. They don't want this feeling of inadequacy or not being the hero of the situation, not being this big, strong, tough guy. And we know that vulnerability is a superpower. We know it's a strength that we need to be doing. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have emotional control. I'm just saying that you have to be open, because I'm damn sure that if there's something positive going on, you will tell people, you will open up, you will tell your partner, your wife about it. But when things go wrong, you need to open up about them. Number 4, just say no. The power of a good no. It's really difficult to say no because everybody's after your attention. Everybody, in terms of employees, clients, partners, kids. And it's really difficult, but I always think that if you say yes to something, you automatically say no to something else. And 9 times out of 10, you don't get to pick what you say no to. If you agree to go on that client dinner, if you agree to travel to your client's office, it's taken away from your family. If you agree to go and play football with your kid in the park, or you agree to pick them up from school, unfortunately, you're going to say no to some stuff in your business. But understanding what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to is a clear way to get very crystal clear on the decisions that you're making. I've always gone on in previous videos about creating a vision. And the more I read up on this and the more I practice it, it is just one of the biggest things that you can do. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to see something in a medium term time frame, 3-5 years away, and you're trying to get in your head about what it's going to feel like, who's going to be there, where you're going to be. And once you get into that mindset and that thinking, it makes it so much easier to make the right decision. And stress can build up because of our worry that we're not taking action, we're not making the right decisions. So think about that. Lastly, point number 5, access and use stress management techniques. It is not hard to find them. So many good people out there are talking about breathing, mindfulness, light physical activity. Any of those are great tools to use. Depending on where you are and what you're doing will depend on the tool. You know, you might not, if you are just about to go into a meeting, be able to do some 10-minute meditation, but you might be able to do some breath work. And to add on top of that, when you do have breaks, use them. So if you think, oh, I've got 5 minutes before this call, do not jump on your phone and start this process of searching through social media, replying to emails, texting people. Just don't do it. Do some breathing, do some walking, do some mindfulness. It's really simple, but they do make a big difference over the course of your day. Trust me. That's it for this video. There are the 5 tips. Thanks so much for joining. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please leave likes, comments, subscribe to the channel, more coming out. If there's any area of performance that you're looking, especially in the area of business dads, drop a little comment on the bottom. In the description is a link to the Business Dads Performance Test. Simple test, 25 questions, and it will just give you a little bit of an understanding of what areas you might need to improve, what areas are you doing really well. But that's all for now, and hopefully I will see you soon.